Mental Training 101. And now back to Get Warrior Tough with Andrew and Dutch.
Back in the saddle. Ride hard. Shoot straight. Never lie. Lieutenant Colonel John Folchetti joining Dutch and I tonight. If you want to get in on the conversation, use the hashtag #GetWarriorTough. You can find Dutch at the Dutch Coleman. I'm at Warrior Tough PhD. Go to the website, find the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. All right, so we're having this great conversation, but there was an article that came out. I was being interviewed today out at WLW Cincinnati on Eddie and Tracy Jones's show, Eddie and Tracy. Dutch, Tracy Jones was an MLB, a Major League Baseball player. He played for 5 teams, but he played for the Reds, and I actually remember seeing him play when I was a kid because, we grew up. I was a Philadelphia fan growing up, a Phillies fan, and the Reds were like, everybody's Patriots back then. Remember they were winning everything with Pete Rose and Johnny Bench. Right, so I kind of
red machine.
Yeah, so I kind of remembered it, right? So we were talking this study. They had me on because they wanted to ask, my expert opinion as a mental toughness coach guru, right? This study came out of Rutgers saying that most guys refuse to go to the doctors, right, because they're being tough guys, and it's killing them early. That's why men are dying early, because they're, like, avoiding the doctor, and they're just trying to, rub some dirt on it, and they're just being tough. And so they were asking me, why do you think the guys not going to the doctor, why do they think that makes them tough? Dutch, why do you think that makes them tough? The guys don't go to the doctor, because I know that you think you're tough, right, by not going. Wait.
Yeah, that's been confirmed, though. That's my toughness has been confirmed. But but no, I think it's that giving up that power. It's such an unknown. All the different functions that are going on in our body at any moment in time, and that unknown, being told the unknown.
So you think so? It's really not right. There you go. It's scary. So it's not toughness at all. It's really cowardice. Now, Colonel, I know that you're one of the toughest guys I've ever met on the planet, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. What's your take on that?
Well, if I hadn't gone to the doc, I'd be dead at this stage of the game or rotting away someplace. The United States Marine Corps made all of us get an annual physical.
Right?
Yep. You remember it. and you didn't have any choice.
No choice.
You had to go to the doc for annual physical. When a dentist called, you had to go get your annual checkup, because if you didn't, you were non-deployable.
Right.
And so when you're in the Fleet Marine Force, you can't be non-deployable, because we got to be ready to go wherever we got to go whenever somebody says you need to. The tough guy syndrome, I think, Dutch, you were a ball player, right? You played for Clemson.
Yes, sir.
So the tough guy syndrome is really. This is a translation about playing hurt, right? Because you got to step up to the plate no matter, or be on the field no matter what happens, what the condition is. Unless it's broken, you're in a cast, and even if your hand's in a cast, maybe sometimes you're still expected to play on the field, right? And what in a gunfight, even if you get hit, the expectation is that unless it's a sucking chest wound and you can't play or you can't fight, that you got to still be there.
That's right.
So a lot of this comes from the play and hurt deal, but going to the doc on an annual basis keeps you playable, keeps you deployable, keeps you fightable. And at the age of 42, I went to my doctor. I was a civilian at that point in time for my annual physical, and he said, "Sunshine, you got diabetes." Right, there's your blood results. And if I hadn't got an annual physical, then I wouldn't know that. And, I'd be some fat, overweight guy missing toes and fingers because I didn't know it and I wasn't taking care of it. So it's really the tough guy syndrome is facing up to it, sucking it up, just like you would play hurt, but you got to swallow your own pride and go take care of yourself so that your business, right? If you're running the business, unless you're the sole employee, there are other people there who are dependent on you to generate business. So you got to be there to play every single day of the week. You got to be there to generate business, bring revenue in the door, so you can still write their paychecks every week and pay for their medical insurance all the time. So I think that people need to take us, men, need to take that tough guy syndrome and reverse it. Say, I'm tough enough to go and listen to whatever he's got to say, and then do whatever it is that the doctor says to do.
Right, then you got to deal with it. Right.
Self-healthy and in the game. Right?
Yeah. No, that's right.
You broke your wrist in a football game, and the doctor said, "Son, you need a cast." And you'd have that cast on there the next day and do whatever it took to be on the field the next week.
Right. Well, this is interesting because those guys, then they asked me about, do women get caught up in this same thing? And I said, man, women are a million times tougher than men, right? And they don't really seem to have that issue because I saw my wife. She's a 1'5", soaking wet, 5'3", smoking hot. I saw her give birth to our 3 kids with no drugs, natural. I mean, no drug, no epidural, nothing. Just, did her thing and just totally tough. And but they don't take it as like an assault on their ego or their image to go to the doctor, which I find is hilarious because men, we try to like puff our chest out and really it makes us look like idiots instead of. Go ahead.
I think women, for some reason, they must take a different path to the conclusion that we're as men are trying to get to because we all want to be there. As the colonel said, we all want to be there, right? So they think, all right, I need to take care of this so I can be there. And we think, I just need to be there. So we don't think about anything. And we like, if I leave and go get it taken care of, then I'm no longer there. And maybe they're thinking, if I don't get this taken care of, then I'm not going to be here.
Right.
But there's something in that there's something in that connecting those two things that men are missing out on, and me included, that we are somehow getting lost in that because it seems like a simple notion that if you don't get this taken care of, then you're not going to be here to take care of things. You're not going to be here to pay the bills. You're not going to be here to take care of the wife and kids. So you need to do that when the women, it seems, based on the people I know and experiences I've had, that they think about it the correct way. I need this taken care of or else.
Right.
You know
so they got a long-term view. So where does this perception of this, toughness of the tough guy come from? Where does that come from, man? I know what you're saying, Colonel, about the play while you're hurt thing, but I see a lot of guys that they were never in the military and in a firefight, and they were never on the field of play, so they weren't even worried about playing hurt or fighting when they were shot, and yet they walk around like, rub some dirt on it, and I'm,
Isn't it our birthright, even beyond all that? It's like our birthright as men in society. We're the kings.
Where does that
we're
come
the ones
from,
in
dude?
charge. And,
is it because of TV? Is it movies? Is it parents, coaches, teachers, neighbors? Where does it come from? Because it's just not healthy, man.
The answer is yes.
You better hope somebody else calls in because we're all going to get in trouble if we keep up along this path. I tell you that right now. It's funny though because my wife will go and do all of her annual things, right? All of the annual checkups, the annual physical, the OBGYN thing, the breast cancer check, all of that stuff. She'll go do that. But if she gets a bug, a cold or something like that, absolutely will not go to the doctor. Like, why don't you just go get a prescription, get this thing knocked out in 3 days, and instead of sucking it up for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks and making me, and maybe part of that index is that she knows it makes me miserable. So this is payback, for all the bad stuff I've ever done. Right? On an annual basis, 3 or 4 weeks of putting some misery back on John is a good idea.
Sticking it to the old man. That's awesome.
And see, that's another situation where I think where we as men screw it up as well, because when it's something minor, my wife will accuse me of milking it. She's going to bring me something to drink. She's going to bring my food to me. She's going to do all this. But when it's something serious, I completely stay away from it.
Yeah.
And so I something minor. Oh yeah, let's get this taken. I feel horrible. Yeah.
You got the little bell. Do you ring the little bell? You ring the bell.
Yeah,
bring me a drink.
Absolutely.
Oh my
gosh.
And
so they're sucking that stuff up. But then when it's something serious, that's when we go away and we hide like it's not happening, and then they go get it checked out. So it's flipped on its head. I can't call it.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy, but it's an interesting study, so Dutch, tell folks what they can do to start building the correct toughness, the real toughness, the mental toughness. What can they do today to start building that?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to decide that you're going to do it. You have to make that decision. I mean, with all things, the first thing is the people say it's the hardest, but if you really focus and pay attention, it actually is the easiest, because once you make the decision, as we've always said, then all the choices and all the questions, they appear, and all the choices are pre-made. If I decide I'm going to do something, then every question is already answered based on that decision. Every choice is already made. So the first step you have to do is decide I'm going to do things a certain way. Once you make that decision, then as any situation approaches, then you're going to go back to the decision you made, and the choice is made based on that decision. So it ends up being the easiest thing you've ever done, making that decision, the easiest thing you've ever done, because any question that someone asks you, you can give me any example. I tell young kids all the time, I want to go to college one day. So if I say I want to go to college one day, then you can ask me any question and I can relate it back to going to college one day. Hey man, you want to play hooky from school? Oh no, I can't do that because I'm going to college one day. Hey man, you want to go rob this liquor store? Nope, can't do that because I want to go to college one day. So every question is now answered just because I made that decision. All my choices fall in place and I'm on autopilot now, the good kind of autopilot. That's the first thing anyone needs to do with respect to anything. Sit down, make a decision. What do you want to do?
Right, and then what you do, right? And then, like you said, the choices are already made. Does this help me or hurt me, get me closer to my target? I mean, is that really?
Absolutely.
Okay, so John, you want the 1,000-acre farm. That's the target. All the choices are made for you. You just got to pack up and move down, man.
Right.
I'm working on a neighbor here. I'm trying to get you down here, man.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for you to hook me up with somebody who wants to sell on the cheap. That's what I'm waiting on.
Oh, man.
I hear you. I hear that.
That's awesome. No, I mean, it really does come down to making a quality decision. And we talk about this in the Get Warrior Tough process, when Dutch and I are coaching our clients and stuff, that we talk about Hernan Cortez and how he burnt the boats, right? So it's in the 1500s. Cortez comes. He's going to get all this Aztec gold. There's 600 of his guys against 30,000 Aztecs, and he knows the only way out of this is really I got to level the playing field of emotional drivers, right? We have to have commitment, because if everybody's thinking about, hey, let's get out of here, they're not going to focus on winning the fight. So what he does is he has a beach party, sends his lieutenants back to the boats, and he burns them while everybody's, having a clam bake. And now the only way to get home is to win and to conquer the Aztecs. And so that was the decision. He made the decision, and then everything else was already the choices were easy after that. Is that a fair assessment, Dutch?
Yep, absolutely.
It is. I think Dutch really just hit on something in very plain English that's immensely valuable. And that is, once you decide to do it, the choices fall in place as a result of the decision. That's brilliant.
That is brilliant. All right, we're up on a break. You're listening to the Get Warrior Tough radio show with the Dutch Coleman, Andrew Wittman, and the fabulous, the great Lieutenant Colonel John Folchetti. We'll be right back.